Smaller companies and the Aussie share market appear in a sweet spot. Here's why you need to watch Australian Agricultural Co, Rocket Lab and Netflix shares. Welcome to The Daily. My name's Jessica Amir, a market strategist here with Mumu. All stocks, crypto assets and gold have continued to float higher on cloud nine after Donald Trump's first day as US president. We saw the Russell 2000 as the star index overnight. Just showing you a chart here. That index rose 1.9% overnight. Now, the index has risen to its highest level this year, and the technical indicators are suggesting more gains are probably ahead, and it's all for good reason. Small companies, or small caps, as we call them in the industry, they appear set for higher ground, as we said, in a sweet spot, expected to generate stronger growth this year because tariffs are not expected to be as strict. And Donald Trump is, of course, pro-America, and inflation concerns are subsiding. So that is a stock, or indeed rather an index and an ETF to watch on your screen. IWMW. As for another stock to watch, we've got Rocket Lab on the screen. Rocket Lab shares were a standout overnight. They rose 30% to $31.32. As we can see in after-hours trade, they're seeing a bit of profit taking, but Citigroup has increased their price target for Rocket Lab. This is a company that makes spacecraft and satellite components and provides orbit management services. Now, their customer book is top secret, but investment banks have been upgrading their revenue expectations for the year and the quarters ahead. Revenue is now expected to grow 119% next quarter. All in all, for the year ahead, revenue is expected to grow about 80% in a year, 78% to be exact. And that's expected to take their revenue to $435 million US. I previously mentioned this stock back in early December, and since then their shares have jumped about 30%. So well done to those who bought into this stock. Meanwhile, we did see big moves in cryptocurrency. Tesla and Elon Musk's, I guess, somewhat backed Dogecoin rose 4.4%, while Bitcoin itself rose 1.5% overnight. It's back above 106 US dollars. And that has pushed the world's biggest Bitcoin ETF, BlackRock's IBIT, also to higher levels. We're showing this ETF in front of you on the screen. We can see that this ETF is about a whisker away from its all-time record high. So perhaps that's an ETF to keep on your radar. Of course, keep an eye on MicroStrategy MSTR, which is the world's biggest holder of Bitcoin. As for what else you need to note, in commodities, wheat prices have moved up the most out of all commodities overnight. Wheat prices are now up about 4%. 3.6% in fact in one day. All in all, wheat prices are up about 5% for the month. Beef prices are following. Now, all in all, this is suggesting that food inflation is probably going to start to pick up again. Now, agricultural and commodity prices are mostly marching higher due to weather concerns from snow, winds, rain, depending on the commodity that you're looking at. Now, for Aussie investors, this means watching potential benefactors such as Australian Agricultural Co. Australian Agricultural Co. Is on the screen right now. As we can see, their shares are pretty volatile, but it is worthwhile noting that AAC, they appear to be breaking higher. So that is a stock to watch. Obviously, with beef prices rising in value, that means their earnings can grow. Also consider watching GrainCorp and Elders. They are pretty large sellers of grain. Elders is, of course, a seller of not just wheat, but also selling cattle as well. Also consider in commodity metals, the standout was gold overnight. Gold is, of course, continuing to climb back to new record high neighborhood. It hit a 2-month high overnight, and that's because the US is largely expected to miss their upcoming debt repayments. As we said, we highlighted earlier this week, That's indeed what Janet Yellen has come out saying. Now, throughout history, it's worthwhile noting that every time there are credit crunch concerns, we do see gold rise and hit new record all-time highs. So the reason that gold is also rising right now is because we've got the US dollar falling and bond yields softening, and this is allowing gold to continue to march higher. Aussie's share market is starting to really up its ante this year. The Aussie share market is now up 3%. It's not far behind the gains that we've seen in the blue chip index known as the Dow Jones. That's the biggest 30 stocks in the US. And the notion is that the Aussie share market will probably deliver better returns this year than last. Today, the futures suggested the Aussie share market would lift 0.6% at the open. So far in early trade, the Aussie share market is only up 0.3%, but after Donald Trump came out slapping a 10% tariff on China, we're starting to see some of those gains taken back. The most love and light, I guess, today might be expected in small caps, tech stocks and consumer spending names, and perhaps that's for a good reason. We saw Netflix overnight pretty much give the nod that the consumer is pretty strong. So we saw Netflix's subscribers rise a massive 19 million last quarter. That's the biggest rise in subscribers in Netflix's history, and that pushed up Netflix's shares 13% in after hours trade. As we can see, we're showing the Moomoo platform here. Their shares, in fact, are up 14% after hours. So there's good reason for that. It's because obviously higher subscribers led to greater revenue than expected. Netflix's revenue up 16% to 10.2 billion US dollars. Now, the technical indicators for those chartists among us who are watching this, they might see that that Netflix, it looks like the technical indicators are suggesting that their shares could break out higher. But zooming out, Netflix's results also highlight that we might be expecting perhaps wonderful things to come from big tech stocks that report next week. And that's the daily. Thanks for your company. Bye for now.